Okay, hi everybody. Here we are again. Did we get any sleep? It just seems we did this last night. Yeah, we did do it last night. Why are we here again? Because we love making money, but most of all, we love keeping our money. And that's the reason why we're here tonight. Okay, in just a minute, I'm going to put Gary Cleveland on, 30-year professional and with Bridgeway, and he's going to tell everybody what's the best way to keep your money and give you lots of information. Followed up by Marcus, who has been a customer and student of Bridgeway now for a couple of years. Um, I just want to share that I'd like everybody to save your questions until the end. Okay, we're going to have a question and answer period. Starting next week, we've kind of had a little delay in implementing the Microsoft Live Meeting. That platform is going to give us a place for everybody to put their questions so you can see the questions and Gary can answer them, etc. We're going to try our best tonight by reading the box below. So we kind of have to just do one at a time because every time that something goes in, it pops up and we lose view of it. So we'll take care of that in just a while. We've got so far 28 people. I'm sure there'll be more coming in as we're going along here. The Passive Peeps site, if you look in your messages down here, if anybody wants to, you have to submit a new info client form. And a lot of you already have done that. A lot of you have either talked to Gary or talked to Marcus so far. We're going to have these information webinars every Thursday night, 9 to 10, until we know this inside out. And everybody, there'll be a test. And if you don't pass, you go sit in a corner anyway. Or you lose your money, that's for sure. Okay, so anyway, with no further ado here, I will be quiet and let me introduce you to Gary Cleveland.
I just want some indication that you can hear me okay, and then I'll get started. Very good. This is Gary Cleveland. I'm a senior consultant in asset protection in Seattle, Washington, West Coast, northwest corner of the USA. I have an extensive background in professional consulting services spanning technology over 30 years, and with an emphasis in asset protection consulting the last 6 years. When you see an email from me, it has a name of Greenstone Group Corporation. That is my first Nevada corporation I acquired in March 2006. I do my asset protection consulting business through that corporation, and I would never do business ever in my personal name. The subject is asset protection, which is something nobody really ever heard of much, unless you came from Europe and your family lost everything in a war many, many years ago. In the United States, it's a subject that's hardly ever talked about and widely misunderstood. When I became involved as a client with Bridgeway Financial Corporation, which happens to coincidentally be in the Seattle area with an international practice with a focus in North America and a growing practice outside of the USA. I had never heard of the subject of asset protection, and I wondered, what the heck is it? It actually took me a long time to wrap my head around the concepts, because even though I'd been a high technology management consultant forever in my entire professional career, I'd never learned this stuff. Now, this is a guy that used to be a financial programmer way back in the 70s, and who was doing business with the largest successful companies all over the U.S. When I came to Seattle, it started with Boeing, the people that make the big airplanes, with Boeing Computer Services. And Weyerhaeuser, which was the largest landowner in the United States outside of the U.S. government at the time. Anyway, had a lot of background. But asset protection, what the heck is that? I saw a book years ago by my current CPA, Joe Kraft, which was titled, "It wasn't how much money you made, it was how much money you kept." Found that kind of an interesting subject. Then I found out that all of us are subject at any time to having everything we own exposed. If anybody does an asset sweep in the U.S. based on our Social Security number, they can see everything we have, everything we own, and if should someone become involved in a lawsuit, everything can be put at risk immediately. I found out that the wealthy had always known that getting assets out of your personal name was a very good thing. And there's a lot to that subject. The basic principle is own nothing and control everything. Now, it takes quite a bit to get there, but asset protection is getting your assets, your money, your house, your car, your investments, your income streams out of your personal name into a legal corporate structure which can protect it, has many, many tax deductions available, and you can control it, but they can't find you. Now, the interesting thing about this is that it's all completely legal and completely normal for many, many people, but it's been kind of new to all of us. So I've spent the last 6 years mastering the subject, and I personally have over 250 clients in the last year and a half, 2 years, all over North America and Canada, and a growing practice over, I hate to say overseas, internationally, Australia, New Zealand, places like that. So we're going to protect what you got so you can hang on to it, pay less tax for it, and get it out of your personal name, and make you lawsuit proof. So that's a basic concept of asset protection. Legal structuring to arrange your affairs to pay the least legal tax in whatever country you live in. And if you do a Nevada corporation, that tax would be in the USA. And get your assets out of your personal name so no one can find them or take them away from you in a lawsuit or in any other manner. So we begin the discussion with the Nevada Corporation. State of Nevada, United States, has the strongest law to protect officers and directors. And so the wealthy, like Michael Jackson and Jay Leno, has many of his cars in Nevada corporations. And people out of Hollywood and big names have been doing to Nevada for many years to form corporations to protect their assets. The law in Nevada is the strongest in any state in the United States, and a lot of Europeans have found the same thing. So I go to the subject of Nevada Corp. We have some information. We send you an email. One is a 6-page brochure on Nevada Corporation. And it basically says the benefits of having a Nevada corporation. That is, it's a tax haven. There's no corporate income tax or transfer taxes or gift taxes or any sales, not sales tax, but income tax, period, in the state. No inventory or other miscellaneous franchise taxes. No minimum capital required to have a Nevada Corp. No annual reports necessary. It's totally private. You never list your assets. And actually, no one even knows who owns a Nevada Corp. We have the requirement to list the shareholders and directors, i.e., excuse me, not the shareholders, the president, the secretary, the treasurer, and one director. They can all be one person. They need not be you if you want another name on the Nevada Corp. And they need not be U.S. residents or even U.S. citizens, which is why I have international clients. No need to travel, no need to move anywhere. It's all done for you here by email, Skype, telephone, and my relationship with Bridgeway Financial Corporation. We can have one person that owns or controls a Nevada corporation, which is very unusual. That can be done in a few minutes from payment. We have an expedite. We can have corporate meetings anywhere in the world and have it be deductible as a corporate paid expense. And you can issue stock or not. No one will know who has the stock of the Nevada Corp. It's totally private. So it's the first structure we create for asset protection. Now there's two types of Nevada corporations. They all start as a C, that's the letter C, like ABC, which is a closed corporation. And a closed corporation means that it stands alone as a legal person, it pays its own tax, and you are only going to receive funds from that corporation if you're an employee and have a salary or a draw or a dividend or pay your business expenses. I'll get into those conversations one-on-one. The maximum tax paid by a corporation is around 35% in the U.S. Now, my disclaimer is that I'm not a tax professional. I'm an asset protection management consultant. I'm not an attorney, but I represent Bridgeway Financial. Bridgeway Financial is made up of attorneys and CPAs and tax professionals, and they do professional tax planning for clients. Very unusual skill set. Back to the Nevada C Corporation. All non-U.S. citizens receive a C Corporation, and they remain a C Corporation. And I teach you how to use it. David Lockwood, Richard, is a client, and he is a Canadian. Therefore, he has a C Corporation. If you have a little bit of money after expenses in a C Corp, you pay 15% tax on the first 50,000. That's 50K, 50,000 profits coming from a Nevada C Corp. There are 300 categories of business expenses. So you get $1 million in, and you got 400,000 of business expenses. You're only taxed on 600,000. Is the principle. Actually, I've been a CEO of corporations in consulting most of the last 30 years, so I'm a bit overly familiar with the subject. Most of you have not, so it's a brand new subject to be the CEO of your own corporation. So on the small end, you pay 15% tax on the first 50,000. On the high end, you pay 35% tax. We have advanced tax planning and all kinds of ways to reduce that amount. If you're making millions, we can show you how to reduce it dramatically. If you're making 50,000, we can show you how to reduce it. For U.S. citizens, there's a subject called a Nevada S Corporation. That is an election made with the IRS within the first 75 days of the formation of the corporation. It simply means you make your money, you write all of your expenses down to reduce the tax, and whatever cash is left over comes out of the bottom of the S Corporation to you personally as the owner, stockholder, on a K-1 form, which is sort of like a 1099. So why would you want to do it? Well, we have advanced planning, including full endowment foundations, where you might want to take all the cash out of the corp if you're a U.S. citizen that you can, and use it in some advanced ways. So Nevada Corp's two kinds: C, closed corporation, or S, corporation, subchapter S. We get into personal strategies with you at the time you get a Nevada Corp. If you're a U.S. citizen, you have the S Corp election possibility. International, they're all C, closed corps. So we have strategies for each type of corporation. And the main thing is you can be an employee of your own corporation. You can receive a modest salary, depending on the income of the corp, and have corporate benefits. A C closed corporation will pay for all your medical expenses, dental, vision, alternative care, chiropractic, etc. And all these corporations have generous deductions for education benefits for the stockholders. They're very, very powerful entities. Now, there's an advanced thing available to you called an IBC. That is an offshore corporation, international business corporation. Why would you want one? Well, a lot of you people are making $1,000 a day already, or will be, or even $500 a day. When you have large sums of money, you pay your tax from your Nevada Corp, and the Nevada Corp can be 100% stockholder of an offshore international business corp. Now, why would you want to do that? Basically, it's a qualified intermediary to the world of high-yield offshore investing through brokerage houses and Caribbean banking. And of course, with an IBC, once you have it, you can have a bank account anywhere in the world, because the International Business Corp can do business anywhere in the world. So if I take my IBC flyer that I'll send to you, that describes in detail what an IBC is, the benefits of having one are for anyone with a high net worth, which is many of you, people who want to keep their financial affairs totally private, people that have inventions, copyrights, trademarks, professionals working internationally, any small business owner needing to separate high-risk investments from other assets. Well, guess what, folks? A lot of your passive peeps type of investments are actually considered high risk versus the conservative ones you might do in some other manner. And they are often best kept income-wise in an offshore international business corp. The IBC is an advanced subject because they're formed in the Caribbean in tax havens which come from British law. The countries that these IBCs are formed in come from the tradition of British law, which is a very positive thing. And you can have total privacy because no one knows this IBC even exists. There's bank secrecy laws in these countries, and we take it one step further. We form the offshore corp in one Caribbean country, and then we do your banking or brokerage in another Caribbean country, so we don't even keep your money in the same country under which the law is that formed the IBC. So both the country that forms the IBC legally has privacy laws, and the country you do your banking or brokerage in has privacy laws. And none of this information is ever shared with the U.S. IRS or the U.S. government, or for that matter, pretty much any other government, because the laws state that requirement. And there is no tax on an IBC because whatever profits you make offshore in high yield brokerage accounts or bank accounts that you want to bring back as profit and spend flows through the Nevada Corporation through normal corporate taxes as ordinary income. I know it sounds kind of advanced, but basically this concept was developed by Bridgeway Financial Corp. By Thomas Adams, who is a constitutional attorney, who is on the offshore committee of the American Bar Association, and who is on the Asset Protection Committee of the American Bar Association. He's a super lawyer, and this plan was in place when I became a client 6 years ago, March. It's solid, it works. I have an offshore corporation myself. So for those that are wanting additional privacy and are getting into larger flows of income, I will suggest an offshore corporation at an appropriate time. So the key thing is that our offshore corps are owned 100% by our Nevada Corporation, and if you bring any money back to pay the tax through the Nevada Corp, no one knows you have it. It's private. So that's my quick introduction to what is asset protection, what is a Nevada Corp, and what is an offshore corp. The key here is that you get to me your new client information form so that I can add you to my database. I have a database I've compiled over 2 years. I do an email weekly to all of my clients, inviting them to an open conference call on Tuesday nights by the founder of Bridgeway Financial Corp and his guests and special subjects. It allows me to stay in touch with you so that you can write me questions directly to my email or my Skype. My Skype is gary.c.cleveland. Marcus Montrose is also available by Skype. My email address and my phone number are on the page you see that David has displayed, which is some guy with a big white beard and a Hawaiian shirt, looking kind of informal. My history is such that I spent many years in three-piece pinstripe suits and ran around looking like an attorney or an IBM salesman. I own those kind of suits. I can wear them, but this particular picture is breaking all the rules by being overly informal to show that I'm a mature guy and relaxed and have some experience. So I will be open to questions and answers. I tend to be understated because I'm focused on information and getting you into my system and providing one-on-one consulting support to answer your questions personally. However, I will be looking for guidance on questions in the future. For example, I have a few international clients I've talked to this week who are interested in the benefits to them, and one of them understands them quite clearly already, which is this is a powerful way of being the CEO of your own corporation in the world, to conduct business, to do your investments, to do other investments, and to move into a life that you are creating now by being part of Passive Peeps. If you're making $1,000 a day, it should not go into a personal account. In fact, really, it's not safe for offshore investments of this type long-term to be going into personal accounts. Your funds should be separated so that you have asset protection and a favorable tax status. And we'll talk more about that. There is an urgency for some of you to really pay attention to this information and consider having a Nevada corporation very soon, because you could be at the 35 to 45% tax bracket in the USA, depending on what state you live in now, and we can massively reduce that with business expenses and our advanced strategies. So you can keep more of your money. Long term, all of you are working on becoming wealthy, however you define that. And these things are good for you to know about now and become aware of, because there is what I call a learning curve. And the learning curve is, what the heck is this and how does it work really? Well, your need to know that varies based on who you are. The benefit to you now is that we provide custom personal consulting and answer your questions. Now, I had one gentleman ask me a question. He said, I've got an LLC in a certain state on the East Coast. Why would I need a Nevada Corp? And the answer is, if you're the manager of an LLC and you're also the member owner of an LLC, that from the tax standpoint of the United States IRS, your LLC is disregarded, i.e., you're taxed personally. You may run some business expenses through the LLC, but it has no asset protection whatsoever. We do them in an entirely different manner and never have your personal name exposed as a manager of an LLC. And we prefer to start with a corporation. So there are some advanced strategies here that you would never have heard of any other way that actually really work, that I've spent about 6 years mastering, that I would like to share with you. And at this point, I think I can open it up to question and answers, but I can open it up to a commentary from Marcus Montrose as a satisfied client who's been into this information for about 2 years, David. And then possibly from there we can go to question and answers. Does that make sense?
Yeah, okay, Gary, that makes sense to me. And so I'm going to mute you right now, and then I'm going to get Marcus online here. And I'd like to thank you very much for what you've shared so far. And it's interesting, and I'm sure everybody's on the edge of their seat waiting to find out some more. So we're going to have these every Thursday night, and helping you to be informed. So and that's going to be good for everybody. Now let me I'll close you, Gary, and then I'm going to get Marcus on here. Okay, so there's Gary closed, and let me find, I think Marcus is under the M. There we go.
Hey, can everyone hear me okay? Let me know if I need to be a little louder. Well, that's great. Well, really a privilege to be on this call tonight. Thank you everyone for joining. And I got to tell you, I'm excited about what's going on, not just with the passive peeps, which is a huge part of my life now, but also with our group and the education of myself. And as most of you know, I work for a major bank here in the city of New York. And I don't allow myself to be tied down by the cubicle. The cubicle, unfortunately, has failed me many times as being in the finance world and going through the ups and downs of the economy. And so I won't go on a soapbox here, but I can just be very clear and say what I do in my day job is somewhat adverse, or let's say the opposite of what I do when I get off of work and I log into my passive peeps world. I know for most of you it's the same thing. I'm in all of the programs you all are in, all of the programs that David provides to us and gives us the benefit of knowledge on how to build our business, because this in fact is a business. I was in many businesses before, not as my own CEO, but working for someone and learning underneath that person. But I have to tell you, it has been an extraordinary privilege to work with and learn under the guidance of Mr. Gary Cleveland. The Bridgeway Group as a whole is comprised of people who, as I said before in another webinar, have enough skin on the table, enough skin in the game to know what it takes to lose something or to gain something, which in this case would be knowledge for most of you on this call, and also furtherance of that to protect it. So a little bit of background about me, which is really important to understand, that I'm your normal, everyday, average guy in most ways. As I walk down the streets of New York City, I don't really look any different than any other businessman with a suit on going to work every day and coming home to a beautiful family. But I know things that others don't know. I actually even have the appearance of knowing things that others don't know because of the way I carry myself. And being a passive peep now, another little badge on my sash here, also gives me access to information that as I look around, I say to myself, I wonder if he's in TGP, or even if he even knows anything about it. So to be honest with you, I was searching for a way to build, to grow, but also I was thinking about protecting the money that I was making a few years back before I was introduced to the idea of Bridgeway. And to be fair, I was looking for someone who was not only going to provide me with the guidance and the knowledge, but someone who was going to be able to say, hey, do you want to learn this? Do you want to learn it the way I know it, so that either one, you can become a master like myself. And it's funny, I was having a Skype with someone in Ireland today, and I said, he said to me, it's strange, I never thought I would even need this, and now all of a sudden, just when I need this knowledge, this education of building my assets and growing my business through David and the Passive Peeps, and also protecting my assets and understanding how the wealthy really navigate this realm of wealth that is either newly found or has been in the family for years. Here you go, you guys. Basically provide me with this service, and it's like it lands right in front of me, and my response was, I was waiting for him to get it all out in Skype because we were just typing away, and I said, when the student is ready, the master will appear. And we laughed together, because here we are, two guys who, I was in his situation a while ago, and now he's in my situation thinking, wow, I really do need this knowledge, but I also want to grow with my money. So that's where I was years ago. I was in finance for many years, working for Citigroup and Smith Barney. I worked for law firms for many years here in New York City, major law firms, Davis Polk, Proskauer Rose, Skadden, Covington Burling. So I have a massive knowledge in law. I graduated from John Jay College of Criminal Justice with a legal studies degree. I graduated magna cum laude. I studied and worked all through school. It took me a while to get through, but I knew what it was worth to me to gain that knowledge and experience, and now I have that edge up on the average guy, and I know that while I'm working with them, and staying focused on my goals. So my objective was not only to be my own boss eventually, but to be knowledgeable. I never say to someone, do this or do that. I have this kind of golden rule, a different golden rule than maybe some others, because there are probably many, but they're all ideals. And so I never ask anyone to do something that I've never done, would never do, and wouldn't advise. So it's very important for me that while I'm on this call as the regular guy who has access to this knowledge and this information, that you guys understand that I'm in your same situation in these programs, looking to protect, looking to grow, looking to learn how I can maximize these programs so that I can have a better lifestyle for myself. But I actually have even higher ideals, not higher ideals than you, but just different plans. And it's all because I've been exposed to this idea of not just asset protection, but being my own boss, being my own CEO, and navigating this realm, this world that is clearly unknown by, I have to be honest and say yes if you agree, 95% of the world do not know what you and I are experiencing right now. They haven't been to an asset protection website. They don't even know the term asset protection as it pertains to them. They believe that somehow that's just for wealthy folks who have an incredible amount of money and assets, and why would a regular guy like me need that? Well, there's certain insurances that we have on ourselves that we pay for our jobs, that end. They end at a certain amount, and I'm not just talking about life insurance. I'm talking about being insured against the inevitable, things that are going to happen. And I'm not just talking about lawsuits. I'm talking about building a corporation from the bottom up, starting something with an idea that you have, some type of intellectual property, some type of idea that you have that you want to hold, that you covet, that's yours and your own, and knowing how to protect it from someone who is just an opportunistic person. It could even be a business partner. And we've all heard the stories. So I know for a fact that I'm involved with a group of people that at Bridgeway, and especially Gary as my consultant, that when I stumble on an idea, when I want to change direction, they can be a speedboat in the ocean as opposed to an ocean liner. Some of you work for large corporations like me. They make a decision, and it takes a long time to make that decision really be a part of their employees' lives. Me, I don't have that situation. I don't have that problem. So really back to the asset protection issue and why it's important for you, why it's been important in my life, how it's exposed me to other things. Again, it's not just about protecting your assets and paying less taxes. I said on another webinar earlier that, it's not what you make, it's what you keep. I took these words and I said them almost lightly. And I may have repeated them once or twice, and you may have heard them from Gary. But let's be fair, these words are not my own. It says here, the secret to success is to own nothing, but control everything. I said that and I didn't give enough credence. I didn't give enough credit. That's Nelson Rockefeller. Yes, Nelson Rockefeller. We all know who the Rockefellers are. We all know who the Vanderbilts are. And if you don't know, then I'm sure you know who a Ford is. I'm sure you know who the original Amway guys were, DeVos and these guys. These are multimillionaires who have started with an idea that very much all of us have, to either help our families, to grow a business. And if you have these ideas, if you want to grow your asset, if we're working in these passive programs, we have to somehow figure a way to translate passive income into not just earned income that we can pay ourselves as the CEO, but benefit others in your area, in your state, in your city, in your country, and in the world. It's not fair to make this kind of money and keep it to yourself, but it's also not fair to make this kind of money and lose it to someone else. That's the premise of asset protection. To go one step further, the Bridgeway folks have provided me with not just knowledge, but also access to the international realm. I don't have the IBC yet. I don't have an international business corporation. I'm actually in the same situation as most of you, building and growing my asset, but I understand the need for that. I was also talking with someone in another country today. I'm Skyping most of all of you, and it's amazing the relationships that you can grow so quickly. People understand the idea behind asset protection, but they don't know the why. They know the what, but they don't know the why. The why, as you get older, is more important than a what. My son is 6 years old now, but a few years ago, he would always say no. We get that from our kids a lot, and I get that from my clients at work a lot. No, 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 and I'm used to that. But as he got a little older, and as my clients get a little bit more educated, the one word that always stands out and pokes out all the time is why. Why do I need asset protection? What's the reason behind it? Why should I spend this kind of money to protect something that who's going to find out anyway? what laws am I breaking? You're going to be dealing with people who have not only access but the knowledge and the experience of over 60 years combined, and that's Bridgeway Financial Corporation, to provide you with those answers, to give you the knowledge that you need so that you can grow, like I said, with your asset as opposed to just growing your money. There's an old saying, maybe some of you know it, a man who gets rich in a day dies in a week. And I believe that. So if you're thinking that you have some kind of get out of jail free card, or you're thinking that I've got a lot of money, so what can happen to me? There's an age-old saying that we have as a client at Bridgeway is if any judge or government entity, state attorney, or any attorney for that matter, they're popping them out here in the U.S. like, you know, hotcakes, I guess, if you will, because it's a very popular degree here in the United States to be a lawyer, to be an attorney. If they can find the asset, they can seize the asset. And that's not to instill fear. That's not even to say, to create some false sense of urgency. I want to be in control of my money, but I don't want people to know what I have. If you walk down the street in New York City, you could see a guy wearing flip-flops and some holes in his jeans, and he might look like a tourist, or he just might look like a young professional who has a day off. But you don't know how much money he has. So if he injures you or there's an accident, I'm pretty sure that you'll be interested in finding out. But as you sweep over his assets, as you look over his social, which is very easy to find, by the way, social security numbers are given at the bank like no problem. People say a social security number like they say their phone number these days. Yet it's a social security number, a secure private thing. If I had enough money, or even just a little bit of money, I can find out enough information about anyone that I want to, because I have access to that, or I have access to people who know that. And I'm not talking about misuse of my access at the company that I work with. I'm just talking about me as a private citizen saying, you've done something to me, I want to find out a little bit about you and see if I can sue you or take anything away from you. Or I'm in business with you, I know that you have more money than me, I think my ideas about this company and this corporation has a different direction, I'm going to take my shares and I'm going to sue you for the rest of the business and take away that opportunity from you and your family. I'm talking about ideas of helping people around the world with your money and being willing to say, hey, I'm at risk because I have this asset and I want to protect it. The best thing for anyone to do in this situation is to basically have access to a person like Gary, a consultant who understands these ins and outs of where to go, what to do, and maybe more importantly, as we get older, we probably find out what not to do. I think that's probably more important in life sometimes. We may not know what to do. So Bruce Lee has an old saying, sometimes no action is the best action. And I believe knowing what not to do probably is sometimes more important than what to do. Back to the website and what Bridgeway offers, they have a lot of things at the top here: asset protection, financial strategies, tax reduction. They have a resource center there and frequently asked questions underneath that tab, and the company profile. A little bit of focus on the company profile and the biography of the people that you'll be working with. The Bridgeway folks are a little bit unique. They have a different mindset. As Gary mentioned, one of the constitutional attorneys is on the Bar Association. You have to be on the Bar Association, be a good idea if you want to get business in this country. But these are not just regular attorneys. These are attorneys that have been in the business more, longer than the average person to understand the ins and outs of the legality of where to move your money, how to move your money, and to be frank, to be a ghost in your own environment. To walk down the street knowing that you're protected from not just a lawsuit, but from your money being discovered by someone who, again, just a little opportunistic than the average person because of the hard times. So with the tax reduction strategies that I've learned, how to move my money, what to do if I want to make an investment, do I make that investment out of my, let's say, Bank of America account, or do I make that investment out of my Wells Fargo business account, which is also based out of the state of Nevada? You'll find out the reasons why Nevada is so important in this process, in this initial foundation step of creating your Nevada corporation and having banking facilities through that state. No filing requirements. Some of the rules and regulations in state tax are nullified. They're protected from IRS's gleaming eyes and glare. They see all, they know all. But Nevada, as a state, I'm pretty sure everybody knows about Las Vegas and some of the reasons why one would want to keep some of the privacy that happens, of some of the winnings that happen in Las Vegas. Again, it's not about evading taxes or not paying your share, but it's about doing just that, paying your share of taxes as opposed to the whopping typically 30 to 35% average for a person, and maybe an additional 10 or 15% per your state. So after you're making this amount of money, you're looking at a potential 30 to 40, possibly 45% of your money being claimed, or maybe even not claimed on your taxes, and then having that issue pop up somewhere down the road. These folks navigate everything legally. Every entity that they create is legal. I've moved to 3 different states in the last 5 years and had these folks look at my taxes in the past and not necessarily fix things, but make the necessary corrections and the correct filing so that I can benefit as a free citizen in this country, because I believe in free enterprise, which means doing what you want to do within the law and following the letter of the law. Obviously, the CPA that we have, Joe Kraft, is an astounding gentleman. He's fair. I mean, the price that you would pay, you'd be surprised what you would pay to have a CPA prepare your taxes every year and not miss one iota of a cent in a return or deduction for you, things that you would have never thought of, that you qualify for per irs.gov. It's there. When was the last time you went to irs.gov and saw the deductions that they offer? These guys know it. They know it like the back of their hand. They can tell you, hey, is your wife a stay-at-home person? Or maybe she's a spouse that actually goes to school. If she goes to school, there are different deductions that you'll get. So there's certain things that Joe Kraft will be able to provide you, and it's a case-by-case situation, very much like how Gary has that one-on-one conversation with you all. There's a lot of private banking strategies, investment banking strategies, and of course, Gary spoke about and just touched on the offshore strategies. The gentleman that I was speaking with in Ireland today, we talked about developing and growing the bank of you. Not the bank of, and not such and such bank or savings bank, but the bank of you. Being able to say, hey, a couple friends, we're going to get into an investment. You provide me with some capital through either my offshore corporation or my nonprofit, and I'll take your money, invest it in something very safe, secure. I'll give you a promissory note. All of these things are prepared by the paralegals and the attorneys in Bridgeway. You'll have the full consultation with them. I call John Ewing on the regular. He picks up his phone and he says, hey Marcus, what's up? I know this gentleman. He knows me. And that is a strong sense of comfort for me to know that I can pick up the phone and call the CEO of a corporation, another corporation, because I'm the CEO of my own, and collaborate with him on how best to navigate my world, because he's got experiences and knowledge that I do not have, that I'm learning. So I urge you guys to take a look at the website. The information is there. Contact us as needed. I've Skyped with a lot of people. I've had phone calls with people here in the U.S. It's important to know your place. It's important to grow and build your business, and to know and admit that I don't have all of that I need to know to get to where I want to get to, and money itself is not going to solve the problem. We know plenty of people with plenty of money, and what do they have? Problems. Now, they may have the problems of a millionaire, which, to be honest, I would not mind having, but they would have less problems if they had strategy, if they set themselves up initially. The last thing that I can tell you that was very profound for me on Bridgeway calls for the last 2 years almost is that you don't buy car insurance after you've had an accident. Let me repeat that. You don't buy insurance after you die. You buy insurance before you die. you buy insurance before you get into that accident. I'm not urging you to buy insurance. That's not what we're selling, what we're offering. In fact, we're not selling anything. We're trying to promote the education of growing money, growing your knowledge, and protecting what's yours. I want to keep what's mine. I've lost enough in the last couple of years. We all have. But the key thing for me is to not go backwards. I'm 38 years old. I'm a young guy. I'm very knowledgeable in this business. I've learned a lot from Gary, but I'm not an employee of Bridgeway. I'm a client, and I'm a very experienced client. And I know what's right, and I know what's wrong. And I didn't learn that from Gary or Bridgeway. And I know that protecting what's mine is important to me. I know it's important to you all. And I welcome everyone to join with us and to get your answers and seek the knowledge for yourself. So thank you all for your time, and it's been a privilege. We'll see anyone in the Skype rooms and on these webinar right here for any questions. And like I said, it's been an honor and a privilege being with the Passive Peeps and growing my asset daily. So excuse me while I compound my DPA. Good night.
Okay, Allie, you're the CEO, Secretary, Treasurer, and Director of your Nevada Corp. You can be an employee and receive a salary. The above people are not employees unless you make them such. They're just officers and directors. You can have more than one, but for simplicity, we usually have yourself as a single individual, or you and your spouse or business partner be the officers and directors. And salary is set between you and the CPA based on your income coming to the corporation and your personal tax planning. Next. Well, that's amazing. There are no questions. You can have a Nevada Corp and live anywhere in the world. If you're a U.S. citizen, anything you make anywhere in the world is taxable. It's up to you to report it. And we've got a powerful CPA to address that for you. Next. The cost is in our email that we've sent to many of you already. It's $34.75, $3,475 for our best Wall Street corporation with 75 million shares of stock, which means we can teach you how to sell penny stock later and raise funds for investment purposes. Cost is easy. Cost for an offshore corporation is $41.30, including offshore banking. That's $4,130. We discuss that in all of our specific emails to you when we're talking to you. Basic overview of tonight's information. Passive Peeps does that. Last week was recorded. Question: what would be best for myself and 2 adult children to have an individual corporation or limited liability, limited partnership? 2 subjects. Corporation's one thing. Triple LP has to do with complete personal estate planning when you've paid your money on a lot of on everything. You've paid your tax and you're predisposing all of your estate details to your family members. That's a completely advanced and separate subject. Nevada Corporation is starting 101. Question on tax preparer. We'll introduce our CPA. You can use anyone, but you'll find out our CPA is pretty advanced. Okay, Marcus answered a question in writing. That's good. Carl T. Many of us heard of Swiss banks turning against their clients in favor of U.S. government. How can we be assured this is not happening in the state of Nevada? Well, the state of Nevada refuses to share tax information with the IRS, period. Number 2, they don't ever record it to begin with because there's no state tax. Number 3, they have no access to your personal information or your personal tax information. They don't have it. They don't collect it. It's not available. What happens to a corporation in case of death? You have a vice president who's another family member or close person step in. You handle it in terms of ownership of stock. If you want more than yourself to own it, you can do stock ownership any way you want. And get into a different subject entirely, which has to do with estate planning. There's a complicated answer to that, but the reality is simply get another person on your corporation or another signer on your bank account to step in for you legally. Marcus wrote a nice note about state of Nevada and advanced trust. We've got so many advanced things that I'm not attempting to even talk about tonight. We're talking about a Nevada Corp and the possibility of an offshore corp and how those might benefit you. Complete estate planning is an entirely different subject. Our ballpark for something highly advanced in that area is around $15,000. Another conversation, another time. Includes triple limited partnership and a bunch of trusts and predisposition of everything you own, where you want it to go. So it skips a bunch of legal tax stuff and goes straight to where you want it. How do you spend money in the corps in your home country? Corporation will pay you. Corporation will pay your business expenses. You can take a draw or a loan from the corporation. You can be an employee of the corporation. You can spend money any way you want to. You just need to know how to use the corporation to your benefit. You're dealing in U.S. dollars in Nevada. If you want some other currency, you need an offshore corporation and have multiple accounts in multiple currencies. Oh, U.S. banking with debit card. Corporate banking is in the name of the corporation, but you're the signer in the bank account, folks. You're the CEO and the treasurer. Your money, your corporation, nobody touches it but you. Next question. Well, this is pretty easy so far, folks. So someone had advanced international tax planning questions, and I'll consult with my CPA before I get into those subjects. Independent contractor question, rec buildings living, do passive peeps on the side, is a corporation right for me? Depends on how much money you're making. C corporation is more powerful than an LLC. We'll do a custom evaluation of your situation. We always start with a C corporation and either make it an S or go from there. Return on investment question. It's not a question to me. Back to C corporation versus LLC. Frankly, LLCs done by anyone else usually have no asset protection because they have you as a manager. We at Bridgeway do them a different way, and that's a private conversation of how we approach the subject. That's why we're starting with corporation. It is the most powerful beginning place in asset protection in Nevada. Okay, Marcus made a comment about private banking. Basically, Nevada Corp has a Nevada court system for corporations in Nevada, which is totally different from the normal court system. They got a complete court system just for corporations. This subject of asset protection is a very big one, folks. And starting with a Nevada corporation is just a start. Please be aware that there's endless amounts of information. We just need to get you started. I am from India. Can I be a part of this? As long as you're making money and you're paying taxes in some country in the world, yes. People can have a Nevada C corporation anywhere in the world and with a bank account in Nevada, as long as you show a copy of your passport and you're a real live human being that they can verify. So, any other questions about Nevada corporations or the concept of having an offshore corporation owned by a Nevada corporation? Well, we're at the top of the hour. It's 7:04. And back to the person from India. I'm an international consultant, folks, and there's a lot of things we're not talking about yet because we're not there yet. So send me an email, Gary@cintech.com. Tell me who you are in India and we'll have a conversation. It's all custom consulting. What are your business requirements? Who are you? How much money are you making? What are your plans? What are your multiple streams of income? What are your hopes and dreams? I'll tell you what to create to structure to keep more of your money. Okay, on questions, I request that we create some ahead of time. I believe the webmaster has created a format for you to ask questions ahead of time, and I'll have a running conversation with Mr. Lockwood on subjects of interest so that we can keep this focused to what you want to know about. Okay, Lewis, question. No point unless you're making lots of money. Actually, Lewis, if you have assets of any kind, you're exposed. So I don't know where in the world you are. If you're in the U.S., you're particularly exposed because the U.S. is lawsuit crazy. And you would have to define what you mean by making lots of money. I can get you to zero tax depending on where you're at, because business expenses and our tax planning can offset your income if you're not making a lot of money. CPA does detailed tax for you. I do not. I plan on opening an international nonprofit to provide for the sick and hungry. I am doing this planning through Gary and Bridgeway. Oh, that's Marcus. Yeah, Marcus, I got some plans too. I'll discuss privately sometime. On the subject of nonprofit, we do a Nevada 501c3 nonprofit corporation. We also do a full endowment foundations. And that is another advanced subject. I can talk about it another time. Endowment foundation is something typically only the wealthy did before, and now we have them at a price point and a practical application for you folks in the future. What's the difference between Connecticut Corp and Nevada Corp? Different state, different law. That's addressed on our website, by the way, why Nevada versus other states. Connecticut Corp is not an asset protection structure. Every state has a corporation. Nevada has the best asset protection corporations in the world, until you get to offshore corps that add another layer of privacy. So there's no comparison. Connecticut Corp hasn't got anything to do with the Nevada Corp. It doesn't live in Nevada. The flyer we send you will tell you the benefits of Nevada. Well, okay, fine. UAE, no tax. Good guys. You guys got petrodollars over there, and you live in a world that's totally different than the rest of us. Bless you. Good for you. By the way, this corporation, you're the only signer on the bank account, or you and your partner or your spouse. So no one ever touches your money. It's always under your control. It's your money. Just lives in the name of the corporation. Actually, I'd love to show the guy in the United Arab Emirates, UAE, how to do nonprofit corporations or endowment foundations, and hook him up with Marcus and some other people that want to do some good things in the world. Can't comment about Dubai other than I know you guys have got a lot of petrodollars over there. So form a nonprofit and do something good with it. I'll help you out on that. Well, looks like we're getting a little thin on questions. It's now 7:09, so I'll defer to Mr. Lockwood if we're kind of done with this part.
Okay, everybody, that was just great, Gary and Marcus. I want to thank you all for coming here tonight, like you'll be here every Thursday night. And as Gary said, we've only touched the surface here. There's so much to talk about, and again, it all depends on how far you're going in this. As a passive peep, you all know that the potential is so great. the Passive Peeps staff. We're always, browsing the internet. We're always digging. We're always trying to locate the next best thing for all the peeps. And, we're aware of some things that are coming in the future that's going to really pad our pocketbooks. So it's really important that we have something prepared prior to all of a sudden having a lump sum of money fall into your lap. So I don't think that a lot of people at this time, or a lot of peeps, have had that big lump sum of money coming from a program and waking up the next morning and seeing this large sum of money sitting there, and then you're going, oh my God, now what do I do? Because it's so tempting to go into, send it to your bank account and go on a shopping spree, or pay some bills off in that. And in fact, you don't want to do that pay the bill type of thing, because you wanted to get it to your corporation first, and then you want it to get sent back, so you're able to therefore declare it through your corporation on these bills, and because it becomes a corporation issue. Now, I'm a greenhorn here, and I've followed it for a lot of years. Always knew about Las Vegas, and I even have a couple of attorneys down there that I know that do this kind of thing for lots of years, but never took the step forward. So as Marcus said, when the student's ready, the master appears. So Gary's here to help us all. Bridgeway's here to help us all. So it's all going to come to fruition. And like I said, Passive Peeps, rah rah, we're going to have some really good times here. And one of the things that if just to give you an example, if the Golden Path, for instance, they're allowing $3,000 a day. So when you get up to $3,000 a day, we're talking about $90,000 a month. Now, that's just one program alone. So when you're dealing, if you're getting 90,000 from the Golden Path, and you're picking up, let's say, anywhere from 60 to 100,000 in DPA, these numbers really start to increase, and they got other programs coming that is actually going to put an extra $15,000, $20,000 in our pockets. So the thing is, we got to prepare for that. So anyways, I'd like to thank Gary and Marcus here, and let's just give them applause. There we go. Thank you very much. That's all for Gary and Marcus. Well deserved. And now next Thursday we will have this meeting again, 9 to 10 p.m. And we'll be coming from a different provider for our web conference, which will set up more for questions, etc., and it will be more controlled. So anyways, we'll see you in the Skype rooms. Again, thank you, Donna. Thank you, Kathy. I don't know if Ricky's here too, who's helping along, and Jan and everybody else that helps there with them. But you're doing a great job in there. And just keep the inquiries and questions coming for Gary and Marcus if you need that. Our next webinar for the Passive Peeps is going to be on Saturday at 4 p.m. At that point, I'll be talking to you about my vacation coming. And I am going to be kind of away for 2 weeks. So I'll just have to see how we're going to do this, because we're way out there in the middle of nowhere. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to do any of these webinars unless somebody else comes in and does them. So